here for housing and residential engagement. My typical way I describe my role is that I'm the mayor of our small town. And so I'm looking forward to walking you through what it means to be a resident and what resources we have available for folks who live in student housing. With me today is Gina Bian, who's our Associate Director for Administration and Conference Services. So she'll be helping in the chat because Gina knows everything about all of the technical parts of our application process, our finances. So she'll be able to answer a lot of your more technical or specific questions while I go through our presentation. So we hope you find the information helpful. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat. Gina will either answer them or I will take question and answer at the end of the presentation as well. So thank you all so much. We're excited to share all about housing for our new and prospective students. And so on-campus housing here at Cal State Fullerton, what we like to say is we like to help students learn, to connect, and to grow. And so this survey data that you see is actually from last year. We're in the process of conducting our survey for this year, so we'll have new data for students this summer. But from last year, you can see that over 90% of our students, the overwhelming majority, feel that living in student housing supports their academic success, because for us, students, our residents are students first, and we want to make sure we're helping them be successful and be on a path towards graduation. But also that living in student housing aided in their success as a student, because we also know that it's important not only to be successful inside, but outside the classroom. And so we provide resources and connection points and staff and students who help students be successful overall as holistic students. Also, we want to create an environment that is safe and inclusive of student identities. And so we want safety is paramount, we know, for students and families, but also we want this to be a place where students can explore who they are and feel safe in doing that as they're learning and growing at Cal State Fullerton. And that we provide excellent customer service. We know that students and their families invest a lot of resources to live on campus. And so we like to provide the best experience possible and provide that great customer service throughout the students' time, from the time you all are applying right now through the end of our academic year. We have three styles of housing. So for those of you who are incoming first-year students, you are primarily, our focus for y'all is our residence halls. These are traditional residence halls that have 4 different rooms that hold 2 to 3 students. And then there are, so that's 8 or 9 students on a hallway. There are 6 of those hallways on a floor. So it's about 54 students per floor who then share restrooms, an active room, and study rooms throughout the year. And in those, the restrooms that folks have access to, there are 2 sinks, 2 showers, 2 stalls, but students have access to multiple restrooms on each floor. So hopefully there's not too much of a wait. And then, like I said, there's community space and study space and access to a student leader that we'll talk about in a little bit. The most important thing I like to share with folks is that as you view our residence halls online, or if you join us for a campus housing tour, once you've seen one residence hall wing, you've literally seen them all. They are identical. So I know folks have concerns about where their room is or what. They're all the same. All 5 residence hall buildings are identical. And so no matter where you're placed, you'll have a very similar experience. Our apartments are primarily designed for our seniors and our graduate students, because this is our most private living accommodations. In our apartments, it's a fully furnished apartment with a kitchen and bathrooms and a living room. And then it's 4 students in their own, they each get their own bedroom. And so often folks refer to these as single apartments, but they're not studios, they're still shared. It's just that you get your own room, but you're still sharing everything in the apartment with up to 3 other people. And then our newest housing community are our suites. These are primarily designed for sophomores and juniors, but we do have seniors and first years who live here as well. This new 600-bed community opened this current year and has really enhanced and allowed us to accommodate more residents. And so now we have close to 2,200 students living here on campus. The suites really are a hybrid of the residence halls and the apartments. And so in this case, you have a suite with 8 other people. So it's not all 54 like in the residence halls. You've got 8 in your suite, but it's 4 double rooms. So you still have a roommate, but there's 4 bedrooms with 2 people each. But then you have your own shared small kitchenette, 2 restrooms, similar to like a restroom, what it would be like in the residence halls. So a little bit larger than the apartments. It's 8 people, not 4. But then you're on a floor with 5 suites. So there's 40 people on your floor, more like a residence hall floor of 54 people. There are also a community room, a lounge, and a study space on each floor. So that it's, again, we hope that students, you'll join us as first year students in our residence hall, maybe stay with us as sophomores and juniors and live in the more private suites. And then in your 4th year of graduate school, you can then live in the most private apartment. And so we have the community design so that hopefully folks can have a multi-year experience as we support you and your educational journey here at Cal State Fullerton. Also in the suites, there is also a lounge space, a large lounge for everyone to access. And there's also a large multi-purpose room. Our residential engagement staff have their offices in this building. We have a resource center that's a partnership with University Police. There's also a mailroom and laundry facility. Something that's so important to know is that all residents, no matter where you live, our residential dining services are required. So a meal plan is required for all residents. For students in the residence halls and the suites, you have access to 2 continuous meal plans. That's either 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, or 5 days a week, or 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, or 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So the 5-day meal plan is not choose your own adventure. You need to, it's Monday through Friday weekday. And then if you happen to be here on the weekends, then we would recommend the 7-day plan so you can access our dining facility, the Gastronome, 7 days a week. What that continuous means is that from the time the Gastronome opens to the time it closes, folks on this meal plan can go in as many times as you would like. We equate it to a Vegas style buffet. There are multiple stations that folks can come in. You can come and peruse all of them, or you could come in, grab something quick and go and head on out to class, and then come back and enjoy the Gastronome food hall throughout the day. For residents in our apartments only, because they have full service kitchens, there are not full service kitchens in either the residence halls and the suites. But again, because there are in the apartments, then these students have access to what we call a block plan. It's a much smaller meal plan because we assume students in the apartments can then have access to creating their own meals. And so they have a block plan. What that means is they have 100 times per semester they can swipe into the food hall. It's still all you care to eat, but if you leave, when you come back, you must swipe again. Then all meal plans have what we call residential dining dollars. So it's $200 per semester for each of the 3 meal plans that students can use in our market, which is a convenient, like a local convenient, a high-end convenience store, or in our Tuffy's Cafe, which opens each weeknight after the Gastronome closes, with lots of fast food kind of options or fast takeaway food, burgers, salads, shakes, chicken tenders, coffee, anything you might like late at night to study. And you can use those dining dollars there, or like I said, or in the community market. Those dining dollars, it's $200 per semester to supplement the meal plan. There are also future plans for us. We're looking to enhance our residential dining facilities. And so in the future, while you're here, you might see a new entrance to the Gastronome, more closely connected to our new suites community. And we are looking at renovating our Tuffy's Cafe and our community market to better serve residents. So if you're with us for the next couple of 3 years, you'll see some enhancements. Now, if you're with us and you're not necessarily sure that you're going to live on campus, but you're still interested in dining, we do offer commuter meal plans, which are much smaller and last throughout the year, that you can then utilize the Gastronome at your convenience while you're on campus. For more information, please go to dineoncampus.com/CSUF for more information about all our dining options. This is also where you can find our hours, find the menu for the day, and get connected with Titan Eats, which is our partner, should you have any questions or have any special dietary needs that they can help you accommodate. Now, this is usually the most popular slide in my presentation. When this presentation's in person, I usually move so that everyone can take a picture. But these are our rates for this coming year. These are the rates for the year, which are then broken up into 6 installments. You'll have an installment due in August, September, and October, and then again in January, February, and March. The difference in the rates, there are 3 rates for each of our communities, and then a rate for each of our 3 meal plans. And so depending on your style of housing, your meal plan, you then get the total. And again, that is due in 6 installments that match the installment plan for tuition. So if you decide to do the tuition installment plan, you are automatically on that same plan for housing. And so we try to make things as affordable, and you can plan to spread the fees that are due throughout the year. This information is all on our website, so I'm going to move forward. So don't worry, you can find it there. This is probably, if you remember anything from today, this is the most important point of interest for you, is that should you live on campus, all students, no matter the financial aid package, the entirety of the aid package comes back to Cal State Fullerton to pay for tuition and pay for part of or most of housing charges. But for every student, even with the largest student aid package, there is a gap. And so all students need to make a plan to make up that gap in financial aid. So even if you have you think you have a full financial aid award, if you live on campus, there's always a gap. There are ways to fill the gap, either working on campus, working part-time elsewhere. If you have family who can take out what's called a Parent Plus loan, that can help cover the difference. But it's really important that you pay attention to your financial aid package and make a plan to pay your fees so that you can remain in good standing and be eligible to continue to live in student housing and continue to be a student. I will say Gina is a point of reference for our office. So after this presentation, Gina and her team can help answer your specific questions, especially about your specific aid award and how we can help make sure that you're making a good plan. On our website, there's also a financial planning tool that can help you as well. So please look at that as you're making your plans to apply to live in student housing. Now we want to talk a little bit about, we've talked about the styles of housing and your meal plan and how to pay for housing. We want to talk about what makes living on campus different than living in an off-campus apartment. And I would say what makes our experience different is not just that it's convenient, that you can live on campus and you can roll out of bed and go to class and you don't have to park or drive or commute, but it's the people and the staff and the resources that we have that enhance your experience. And research shows it's this support that helps our residents do better academically and make a better route to graduation. And so we have 3 teams that serve y'all. The first is Gina's team. This is the Administration and Conference Services team. I equate them to, they do the business of housing. So during this season where you're applying, you're making payments, once you move in, if you're looking to get your mail, or you have to get a package, or you have you get locked out of your room, or you just have any of the business that you do throughout your time with us, this is the team that helps with that. They also facilitate our conference season in the summer, where we have small groups come and stay within housing during the summer months. And they do all of our events that we have meeting rooms throughout the community, and they help facilitate those. But these are the folks that give questions about, again, your mail, how to live in housing, how to pay for housing, your license agreement, roommate agreement, everything, especially right now. This is the team that you'll be working most closely with. Then we also have our own in-house residential facilities operation team. So we have our own custodians who clean every common space every weekday that the campus is open. Now, if you're in the residence halls, they do not clean your bedroom, but they clean every other space on the floor. They clean the lobbies, the elevators. The same in our apartments. They clean all the common spaces and in the suites. But apartments and individual suites, that's up to our residents. But everything, all the common areas, they clean every day, every weekday. And then we also have our own in-house maintenance and ground staff who take care of our landscaping. And then they are here every weekday to fix things. And so you can put in a work order. So let's say you arrive and something, you need a light fixed or something, you find that, oops, I broke something, or you need assistance. Our maintenance staff is in our community and they can respond quickly to regular requests. And all of this team is also available in emergency situations, or if it's something, clogged plumbing, anything with water, or anything that is more emergent, this team can respond immediately to help ensure your safety and your comfort in your room space. And then we actually have our residential engagement staff who live in the community with y'all, with our residents. And so we have student leaders and full-time staff, all who live in and are available to provide support 365 days a year. And so this team, in the residence halls, there's one resident advisor per floor. The same is true in the suites. Then we have one every other floor in the apartments. These are highly trained student leaders who can help with community building. They can help with roommate mediations. They help with connecting to campus resources. And then they work with full-time staff who do the same and also hold students accountable to our housing policies, which we'll talk about. And they also respond to emergencies and to crisis anytime, but especially at night and on the weekend. So these are folks that I think this is the team. Again, this is a major difference from living in an off-campus apartment where you don't necessarily have these support resources in-house. This is the team that's here to help students engage in our community and on campus. Now, we also have a great way for students to get involved. So for those of you who've been involved in high school, or if you're coming from a community college or another university, or if you haven't been involved and you're looking for an easy way to do that, we have two student organizations, our Resident Student Association, which is our student government, and our National Residence Hall Honorary, which focuses on community service. These are two groups you can literally step out of your room. They meet weekly, they host regular events where you can get involved and make a difference for the experience of residents and give back to the campus community in a great way, even for first-year students. First-year students can even be officers in these associations, which is unique to the housing experience. We also have a faculty in residence. Dr. Latasha Traylor is an assistant professor in the Department of Sociology, and she lives in the community. So she has an apartment in outside of Juniper, and she is here to help students connect with faculty and better navigate their academic experience. So that by meeting Dr. Traylor, students can learn, how do I talk to my faculty? What is an office hour? How do I study? How do I take notes? How do I have dialogue around critical issues? And so Dr. Traylor is a great resource for our students. And she also helps us with some of our diversity, equity, and inclusion work, and is also helping us recruit some more faculty to serve as mentors in this coming year. So another highlight, and I think a great piece of living on campus, is that engagement to faculty that you won't necessarily get off campus. In addition, we have what we call theme communities. So for this next year, we have 3 theme communities, which are partnerships with the Diversity Initiatives and Resource Center. They focus on identities that either folks hold or identities that folks want to be an ally or learn more about. And so we have what we call Athena House, Rainbow House, and the Ujima community. And so if you are interested in any of these, being a part of these communities, you can find more information in our housing application or on our housing website. But they just provide an additional layer of connection and support and resource to those that are interested in the identities and the communities that these houses serve and these communities serve. Last few things. So we like to make sure the other difference between living off campus and living here in student housing is that we have policy. So just like living at home, we have rules, and we have rules that we expect everyone to follow. And so I like to make sure folks know in advance that we will hold you responsible and accountable to adhere to our policies throughout your time in student housing. So first and foremost, laundry. This is actually an amenity that now is provided. It's included in the fees that you pay. So it feels free that you have laundry available. There's a facility in our residence halls and one in the suites. So residents can come and do as much laundry as you would like. But the important part is only you can do that laundry as a resident. So please don't bring your friends, bring your family. It's included in the fees that you pay as a resident. Also, appliances. We do not allow anything that has an external heating element or makes a lot of steam, because our fire life safety system are very sensitive. Febreze, steam from the shower, from a rice cooker, it can set off the alarm and it might evacuate your whole building. And so it's really important that you minimize. You can only bring things with an internal element. So for example, a coffee pot, not so much, but a Keurig with an internal heating element, not a problem. So just some things to think about. Also, resident parking. There is no limit to, we don't limit residents' ability to bring a car. It's likely that students will be designated to specific lots on campus next year. So you'll want to take a look at that once resident parking permits are made available later this summer. You can see what parking is available for continuing students versus first-year students. But for all of our students, both commuter and residential, it's the same fee. And for our residents, there's no limit to how many students can bring a car. So I know sometimes on other campuses, it might be first-year students aren't allowed to bring a car. That's not the case here at Cal State Fullerton. All students who are interested can bring a car. You may be designated to certain lots that might be a further walk from the housing community. There are also incentives not to bring a car from transportation services, but more to come, and definitely check that out, the parking and transportation website. If you are planning to bring a car, they'll be providing more information soon as they get ready to issue permits this summer. Also, in terms of alcohol, alcohol is allowed for residents who are of age. And so by nature, our residence halls are dry. But then in the suites and the apartments, if within that apartment folks are of age, they're allowed to have the alcohol, but not any of their roommates who are underage or their guests who might be underage. And so it's just important to drink responsibly if that's available to you. We are, though, a smoke and drug-free campus. And so for smoke, that means vaping, that means cigarettes, that means marijuana. Even if that might be legal outside of campus, here at the university and in student housing, none of those are allowed, as well as no illicit drug. But really, the most violated policy is noise. So we have a lot of students who get very excited very late at night. And so the primary goal is that students are here to study. And so we do have quiet hours in the evening each day. And so folks, that's the biggest thing, is we have to help folks keep the noise down so folks can sleep and folks can study. Now, one thing we do allow is guests. And those guests can stay overnight, but they must be at the approval of all roommates. And they can only be staying in a space for a couple of nights over a 2-week period. So for students, if you end up with a roommate who ends up, their significant other is there every day and you feel like you have a third roommate, that's not okay. And so it's important, but if you want to navigate those conversations about guests, our staff is here to help you. We also have, again, a lot of security measures. We have advanced fire life safety to help with fire evacuations. We've got security poles, which we call blue poles throughout the campus if you ever feel unsafe, but lots of mechanisms in place to keep the community safe. Also, almost every door within the community is based on a key card swipe. So it's a very safe community, and we can talk more if you have questions about all the different ways we work to keep the community safe. With that, we don't allow weapons or gambling or vandalism within the community, but we do allow an emotional support animal. So if that's of interest to you, you can talk with disability support services and find out more about have an animal approved to then have in your space. But we do not allow pets other than fish in a small bowl. That's it. But if you need that emotional support animal, reach out to the disability support services for more information. Then the last piece is our student conduct process. So if you violate any of these or have a hard time following these policies, that team from residential engagement that I talked about will have conversations. And for most students, they might violate a policy one time, they're learning, they're growing. And so we have an educational conversation and folks move on. But I do like to let you know that it is important that residents follow our policies. And if there's a pattern of behavior or something or one-time instance that's so egregious, there may be a conversation about whether you can continue to live in the community. And so it's really important that you're aware of those policies. Also, we have equity and inclusion principles that we ask that you follow so that we create a safe and respectful environment. And again, if you're not able, then we may have to have a conversation about your ability to continue. But our hope is for folks, if you're able to follow these policies, this can be a very safe and enriching environment for folks. The last thing I'll leave you with are a few important dates. Right now, our application opened last week, and now we are roommate selection for the next couple of weeks. So if you know folks that you would like to live with or want to search for folks, you can do that between now and April 24th in preparation for then room selection June 1st to the 21st. After that, our team will really help. If you're not able to find a roommate or pick a room in those windows, we will then help you do so if we're able to offer you a bed space. Then for those that are allocated and accept a bed space, then in early July, you'll see room and board fees go onto your student account in preparation for financial aid to be applied in August. The most important date to remember from this presentation is Monday, July 17th. This is the last day to decrease meal plans. If you decide that you would like a lower meal plan, that's your last day to do that for the fall semester. And it's the last day to cancel your application with no issue. Until July 17th, there's a button in the application, you click cancel, you're good to go. After July 17th, it's at our discretion if we have someone that can take your space available on our wait list to then to approve a cancellation. So really make sure you are sure about your interest in living with us by that Monday, July 17th deadline. Then for those that continue, we will send out check-in information in early August. Your first installment payment is due Friday, August 11th. You must make that payment or have enough financial aid to cover that payment in order to check in on August 17th or 18th. Information about all of that will come in early August. Lastly, I'll leave you. Most everything I've shared is available on our fullerton.edu/housing. That's our website. And every weekday from 8 to 5, feel free to call or email our office. Gina's team is there to help answer any questions that you have. Because we want to make sure we're here to help you and make sure you can make the best decision before and then as you move in and while you're here and you're joining us as a Titan here in student housing next year. So with that, I will open it up if there are any other questions. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing you in the fall.